Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. This is a sensitive topic, but it's also really important, so I hope you'll stick with me. I'm not just talking about being taken advantage of in a sexual context, I'm talking about being taken advantage of, period. I think consent is extremely important to understand. I think a lot of people don't really fully understand what it is, and it's sort of treated almost like a woke thing, you know? A lot of people just say, "Oh, all that woke BS." It's like that should not be put in that category. But I can't control what other people do. I can't control how other people view things. It is what it is, and it needs to be talked about. So I wanna um I wanna explain some things that have been on my mind. So I am the kind of person who I might sort of feel like if someone asks me to do something, regardless of what it is, if you want to relate to this, maybe you have some past with being taken advantage of, um, and you can relate it to your own situation. But for me, I'm the kind of person who feels like I only allow myself a certain number of no's, and sometimes I don't even give myself one no. I sort of feel like I have to say maybe. It's sort of like a fear of letting people down. Someone wants to do something with me or, go somewhere with me. I feel like I have to say maybe, but maybe isn't a yes. So I think it would be better to always say no. And I was given this advice and I haven't really put it into practice because it's hard. That doesn't mean that I shouldn't do it, but I want to explain why I think I should do it. When you say maybe, you're really just saying no, but in a way that sort of gives the other person false hope. If you say no, there is nothing stopping you from changing your mind. You can always just go back and say, "Actually, I would like to do it." But you and I both know that's not going to happen anyway. But it could, you know? So no doesn't really mean absolutely not, never, don't even let me change my mind. So by saying maybe, you're not really accomplishing anything but giving the other person the idea that you might change your mind when you're probably not going to. And that's okay. You don't owe anybody anything. You don't owe anybody your time, your energy, your body. Um, People should not feel entitled to that. Put yourself in the other person's perspective. Imagine if someone confessed to you that the only reason they were doing something with you was because they felt like they said no too many times and they owed you one. They just couldn't imagine saying no and letting you down another time. Or maybe just because they couldn't even say no the first time. They just didn't know how. Wouldn't you immediately tell them, "Oh, no, 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 don't worry about it then. I don't want you to do this if you don't really want to do it." And if they don't want to do that, what does that say about them? What a profound lack of empathy that they have, that they would be comfortable making you do something that you don't want to do just because they want it. Um, this is such a simple, basic concept, but so many people struggle to understand this. And the issue is with people who have a profound lack of empathy. You can call them sociopaths, narcissists. It's not our job to diagnose them. All that's clear is that they are not being empathetic. They're not showing any kind of caring or concern for another human being. Um, and that is someone that you want to keep your distance from. You may want to wish them luck, hope that they don't, stay that way, whatever is keeping them that way, that they're able to evolve past it, but you know that it's not your job to help them. Just wish them luck and and keep your distance. There are people like this all over the place, and it's unfortunate. I feel bad for them, but they are dangerous, and there's no changing that. It doesn't matter how bad you feel for them, it doesn't change the fact that they're very capable of causing a lot of damage. And the flip side of that is the people that they cause damage to. The people that are most susceptible are people like me who don't know how to say no, who sort of have this sense of guilt and obligation. Almost feeling like, another common issue is feeling like you need to be able to explain it. If you want to say no, you need to have a reason. You don't need a reason. No one has a right to your body, your time, or your energy, and you don't have to come up with an explanation for why. Someone wants you to come over and visit with them, someone wants to FaceTime, someone wants to call, and you don't want to, you don't have to give them a whole explanation. You can just say, "No, I don't feel like it." And if someone said that to me, I would respect it. I wouldn't keep pushing. And if I did, it doesn't necessarily, depending on what it is, it doesn't necessarily mean that I have a lack of empathy. It could just be that I have something going on myself. Um, but it still isn't right of me to expect it from someone else because they don't owe it to me. So, you know, I I would never expect that from someone. I would never want to make someone feel guilty. And if someone pointed out that I was making them feel guilty, I would feel bad and I would apologize because I wouldn't have been doing it intentionally. But there are people who do it intentionally. It's manipulative. They're only thinking about what they can get out of you. I talked a lot about that in my previous upload. I talked about narcissists and how to trust yourself because I specifically focused on situations where they'll try to convince you um, that you're not actually right about whatever you're saying about them, that you're the bad guy. It was about when they get in your head and gaslight you. But I'm gonna do other videos on narcissists just because there's so much to cover. But that was just the focus for last week's, or not last week, but just my last upload. It was 2 days ago. But anyway, I think with this topic, it's kind of similar because a lot of the people who are doing this, specifically focused on like taking advantage of people in a like a sexual way. I think a lot of those people are sociopaths, and I think the scary part about when you're in a situation like that is that it feels so foreign. You don't know what's happening, and you have not only is there all of the thoughts of maybe I owe it to this person, maybe I shouldn't, whatever it is, but there's also the thought of am I safe? If I try to fight back, am I going to get killed? Am I going to get hurt? This is terrifying to think about, and I think in order to prevent situations like that, what you need to do is just make sure that you feel like you fully understand who has a right to you, and the answer is no one. You fully understand that you're in control of yourself, you're in control of your body, and sometimes, unrelated to sexual assault, I sometimes just picture situations where I might need to defend myself. Maybe someone tries to beat me up or something, and I sort of plan a route. I plan what I would do, how I would get out of it. My personal thing that I always picture is go for the weak points. You want to go for someone's throat, their stomach, or their genitals. That's especially if it's a man. That'll kind of knock them on their ass. And what you want to do from that point is get yourself in a position where you are one quick move away from just ending their life. You could have your foot on their neck, and all you have to do is just stomp, and they'll die because you have plummeted your foot into their neck. And if you're going to do that, you might also want to take some kind of precaution so that their hands aren't free, because you don't know what they could do with your ankle there. But if you angle it right, if you make it clear that even if it looked like they were about to do something with their hand, you could end their life in a second. Situations like that, you want to at least feel like you're capable of that. And I know it's hard in practice. I know it's easier to imagine it than to actually do it. But just having that in your head might at least give you the confidence to try to get out of a situation like that. And that'll make you feel more empowered. If you don't do it, don't blame yourself either, because it shouldn't be your job. You shouldn't have to defend yourself because other people should not be attacking you. Um, and it is hard to learn self-defense. It is hard to really stand up in situations like that, because it's not just a matter of a physical fight. In situations with where consent comes into play, there is so much else going on, all these other psychological factors that I talked about, the feeling of obligation, not really knowing for sure if you have a right to say no. And I think we've all heard like just say no, and all of this stuff, but it it it's easier to hear it than to actually practice it. Um, because I think even people who know this, in the moment, there's still this feeling like I said, I had someone tell me to say no instead of maybe, and when they said it, I agreed. I said, yeah, that makes complete sense, and I still find myself saying maybe all the time. So don't be hard on yourself. Um, don't act like you are messing up. Um, one thing that I really want to emphasize, I don't remember if I said this in my last upload, but this is super important. We need to not think of ourselves as broken. We need to not think of ourselves as helpless. Like we're kind of a mess, and what are we gonna do? I can't move on with my life till I fix this problem. You don't want to think that way. There's always going to be something new challenging you. And you have to relax and trust yourself that if you have a traumatic experience, if you have anything terrible happen to you, that you're capable of learning from it and using it to prevent situations like that from happening again. And if it does happen again, just keep thinking that, just try again. Don't ever just give up and say, I guess I'm hopeless, because you are never hopeless until you make it true. And even then, that's only in your own head. I don't see you as hopeless, even if you've decided that you are, because I know that whether you believe it or not, you're capable of changing your mind. You're capable of getting up and continuing to fight. In my own spiritual beliefs, I believe that not even death relieves us from the responsibility of choosing right from wrong, from choosing to fight or choosing to give up. I think even after we die, we have a choice to just hold on to the fear and ego versus choosing love and um, just the goal to just continue to move forward in the flow of the universe. That's my own belief. You don't have to believe that. If you believe that you are your body and that you will cease to exist when you die, then it's not going to mean as much to you, because you might just think that dying is going to get you out of this. And in my own belief system, I think that is partially true. I think it gives you a break, but I still don't think that it completely absolves you from um, the work that needs to be done. I think you do still have to learn how to stand up, how to take care of yourself, how to be emboldened. And there's no time limit. You have infinity to keep learning this, but that also means that you can procrastinate it for infinity and still get nowhere. You have to do it eventually. And we all are in the same boat. We all have to learn the same lessons and get the same work done at different paces. Everyone's life is going to look different, because we're all, it'd be like comparing the work of a first grader to the work of a 12th grader. But the work of a 12th grader was once the work of a first grader. They had to go through the other grades to get there. So the only question is, do you want to stay in first grade forever, or do you want to make some progress and see what might come next? Um, so I know that's just my own belief system, but I think that it applies to life too. If you ignore the idea of atheism and spirituality, you just completely leave those things aside and focus on what we know for sure, which is that we all exist on Earth. There are a lot of ways to compare this to situations where we know that we can't really expect to live a productive life if we're just sort of sulking in pain. And I think a lot of people, after having traumatic experiences, because of what's said to them, because of the way that people handle these situations, they tend to see themselves as broken or as victims. And the truth is that they were victimized, but they aren't victims. They can stand up, they can be empowered, and they can help other people. I think that's the main thing that really should inspire you, is that you can learn some really tough lessons and give it out to others. When I was 12, I had to be told that by some adults in my life, mainly my mom, just the idea that once I got out of the situation that I was in, I could share with others, and I could make some changes based on the frustrations that I had to deal with. And that inspired me to keep fighting, just knowing that I could help other people. Um, because I didn't want anyone else to have to go through what I went through. And I don't want to waste time talking about that in this video. It's not important. But I think, just for the sake of caring, but it also, you don't have to. I don't want you to feel like you're a bad person if you choose not to. It's just, like I said, it's just a matter of whether or not you're willing to put in the energy. It's okay to feel like you don't have it in you. Like you might need some attention first, but you give as much as you're able to. I mean, that's really all it is. If you feel like you're at a point where all you can do is just maybe give a friend some advice based on what you already have overcome, that's fine. You don't have to do huge things. Just little things. As long as you feel like you're going through something and overcoming it, and then trying to give it back out. Just alchemize the dark, transform it into light. So hopefully I'm not rambling. I feel like I started rambling at this point, so I'm going to try and wrap this up. I think in conclusion, all I really want to say is that you can always be empowered. You can always choose to move forward. And if you ever find yourself thinking something negative, feeling guilty, feeling like you owe somebody something, or and that includes what I was just saying too about giving back out to others. If you feel like you owe that to the world, and you feel guilty because you think you're not able to, or you maybe just don't want to, ask yourself why. Don't just say, "Oh, well, I guess I'm a bad person." Go in there and figure out, if it's that you don't want to, why don't you want to? If you think you're not able to, why aren't you able to? Just unpack it and don't judge yourself. There's no wrong answer. Um, and there's no wrong reason to say no if someone wants to use your time, energy, or body. No one has a right to that. Um, so know that no matter what the situation is, no matter how hard the other person tries to convince you otherwise, it's never going to be true. And if you really need to make it situational, if it's hard for you to say, yeah, but this situation is different, this is an exception to what Tristan was saying, put yourself in the person's shoes who wants something from you and ask yourself if you would be doing the same thing if you were in their shoes. Ask yourself if you would really want someone else to do something that they don't want to do. I think the answer would be no. Um, so yeah, just relieve yourself of guilt. You're okay. It's okay not to be okay, and you always have a right to say no. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I read every comment. You know, at this point, my channel isn't very big, so I'm not getting very many. Obviously, if in the future I have too many comments, then this will be outdated, but because I can't reply to, like, I don't know if there's like thousands of comments, but I doubt I'm gonna get that many. So I just am sort of trying to prevent this from being outdated and then probably making myself sound like I expect to blow up. Obviously, I would like to, but um, see, this is what I mean, feeling like I owe an explanation. This is my anxiety coming through, and now I'm getting nervous that people are gonna think that I am like arrogant and expect my channel to be bigger than it is or something. Like it's just shit like this. Hopefully this makes you feel less alone, if nothing else, because I don't edit my videos because I don't like watching myself. Um, so yeah, I'm just leaving this in. Thank you for watching. I appreciate every like and comment and subscription. And I post, as of right now, every Monday and Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a good rest of your day or night, and thank you very much for being here.